been like consistent, like 10K above months.
Downloaded it. I checked the date, July of 2021. And then I left my job in September of 2021.
Since then, I've sold websites. I've pivoted my business. I'm no longer doing social media management.
What has been like your highest month?
13K.
It has literally changed my life.
When you were designing on WordPress, were you charging way less? Like, what is that like?
Yeah, way less. I think my first WordPress was like $500.
$500 for a WordPress site versus like up to $5,000 for a show it site.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast interview, wherever you're watching this. Today, we have a very special student, the one and only Joss, aka JD Ashmore, a wonderful web designer. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm super excited to dive into your journey, what courses you're in, what your experience has been so far. Do you want to quickly start off with where you're calling in from, how long you've been doing web design, and what courses you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm calling in from Houston, Texas, 18
Yes.
really here. And whew, I've been in Texas for like a couple years now, but I'm originally from Massachusetts. I took CEO of Show It and
Okay.
Wealthy Web Designer.
Amazing. Was Wealthy Web Designer the more recent course that you went through?
You know what's so funny? I actually did Wealthy Web Designer first and then went back and did CEO of Show It.
Interesting. I want to get further into that. Before we go into the courses, will you tell everybody a little bit about your story of how you found web design, how you found Becca, and what life looked like prior to web design?
Yeah, so I think such a wild story, and I'll try to like condense it as much as possible.
Okay.
But I have been, I think, messing around with design for a pretty long time. I'm kind of a type of person where like if something kind of gets thrown at me, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll try it.
Mm-hmm.
And so back in 2020, there was nothing to do. We were all at home,
Yep.
and people
Yep.
were like, "Hey, Canva, this cool Canva thing is going on." I tried it, and people were like, "I like your design, so can we start here? Can we try this?"
Mm.
So I was doing like little logos, which turned into like a website, here or there, right? And so like
Okay.
I was doing websites for like $175, which
Damn.
yeah. Um, and then I kind of just stopped. I'm a single mom. Life was getting difficult.
Yeah.
Jobs aren't really easy to come by in Texas for people who have degrees in health and human services.
Would you look at
Yeah,
that?
wild, right? And I was kind of just going through life, and then I saw an ad for Wealthy Web Designer.
Wow.
And I was like, what is this? And like I said before, I'm an impulsive person, right? And when you're an impulsive person, you have people in your life that have to rein you in.
Yep.
And so I saw Wealthy Web Designer, and I immediately called my people and I'm like, I'm about to do this. It's crazy. It's wild. And they're like, Joss, don't do it. And I was
They're
like,
like, hold me back, hold me back.
yeah. And then I just did it. I just invested it. It's the best decision that I've ever made in my entire life, is investing
Wow.
in Wealthy Web Designer.
Wow. Well, thank you for, first of all, making the investment into us and also just trusting Becca and I to be part of your journey in life, because I think that that is part of like, that's something that we don't always acknowledge when we're like making an investment into somebody or a course or a coaching program or anything like that. But we're really letting their influence come into our life. And I think that that is actually something that shouldn't be taken very lightly and is really, really important. So thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey.
Thank you for doing this, for launching a course, for
A hundred
sharing your
percent.
journey with people. It's
So walk me through, you found an ad,
mhm.
call your people. You're like, hold me back, hold me back, hold me back. You buy it. Then what?
Oh man, so I bought the course, right? I'm in the course, and immediately, like before I even really dove in, I was like, I need to try this out on somebody. Like I need to take this course, and I need to walk through it with somebody who's gonna let me do their website. So I went out through like some friends, and I was just like looking to see who needed a website. I got a
Okay.
client like that week. I just went out and I was like, who needs a website? I'm beta try. I just
Yep.
was throwing words out there, and I ended up landing somebody within a couple days of joining Wealthy Web Designer,
I
right?
love that.
And I brought them through the step-by-step process of what Wealthy Web Designer was teaching me, like start and setting up my process as I was pulling them through it. And it was the most wild experience because when I was done, I was like, oh, I could do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an actual web design, like I could be a web designer
Yes.
for real.
Wow. What was that like? I'm actually curious when you realized that. What was that like? Because I actually can bring myself back to even like when Becca got her first couple of clients. And it was at a time when we had just left the restaurant hospitality industry. And so we were very used to an $800 to $1,500 paycheck every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then her first site, it was like $1,200. And I remember thinking, they're paying you $1,200 and you don't have to go to work for the next 2 weeks. Like,
Right.
and before that, I didn't really know that being a web designer was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I obviously knew somebody had to design the website,
Yeah.
but I had no idea that that was a profession. I'm curious what that was like for you and realizing, like, oh, not only can I do this, but I just did it.
Well, before, if somebody's like, hey, I need, like, I've done a website for free before, like a comprehensive, like, website. And so, going from charging like $175 to like charging almost 1,000 for my first website
Hmm.
after Wealthy Web Designer was a mind-blowing experience, right? I feel like it just shifted like who I was and how I viewed the world in that
Mm,
moment as it pertains to who I am and what I have to offer. Right, because you're not just dealing with like an aesthetic design, like you're hearing people's stories, you're part of their journey for a second, and you get to send them on their way better than where you found them with more
hmm.
strategy or better alignment or and so I think it was just like this crazy shift of I'm not just an employee at a low level position with a degree that I can't use.
Yeah.
Like now I have this high ticket, high income skill that I can use to actually make a difference in people's
Hmm.
lives. So I think it's just like a wild mindset shift to go from low level employee to, oh, I can do crazy things.
Isn't that so wild, that shift of like learning a skill that not only is high ticket, high, high profit margin, all that, but also like high impact, where like just what you just said of even the way that I am saying, thank you for trusting me to be a part of your journey. It's like the exact same thing when you work with a client. And
Mhm.
being a support style service provider in that you support other businesses to find more success, I
Yeah.
think is so cool. And part of like the fulfillment of the job that a lot of people don't realize when they're starting is that you're not just designing a website, but you're actually like stepping into this person's
Yeah.
world. And likely you're working with small businesses and their business is literally their baby. And so they are like trusting you to watch their baby and make it better. It is crazy. So at that point, you had a $900 website. What were the highlights of going through Wealthy Web Designer? Any things that stick out that you remember?
Yeah, I one of the best things I think that Wealthy Web Designer offers, this is just for me, right? Because I think the gaining the client is not necessarily the hard part. I think knowing what to do with them when you have them
Mm,
can be a little chaotic and overwhelming.
yeah.
So having Wealthy Web Designer give me the step by step process, give me the questions to ask, give me the system to bring them through, and really just how to make it so that you're supporting that person every step of the way. I think that was honestly like the most powerful thing that Wealthy Web
Mm,
Designer offered me. Because everybody could have a website. I personally, I believe that, if you're doing something in the world, you could have a website, right?
yeah.
So it's not really about finding the person that needs the website. It's what do you do when you have them and how do you make them feel better about where they're going in their journey, and the strategy, that they'll need
Yeah.
during that process.
And who have you ended up working with, or has it been a good mix of people?
Oh my goodness. This is wild, right? So I've been working with a lot of people kind of in my network in Houston. Houston is like an area for entrepreneurs. So
Yeah.
there is like no shortage of that, right? But in the midst of that, in the midst of doing Wealthy Web Designer for the first time, I'm still in my 9 to 5 job, and
Okay.
I work in this really small company, but they're a pretty awesome company. They were like, we need a new website. And I don't know if Wealthy Web Designer just gave me the audacity, but I was like, I could do it.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like a low level employee. They've never seen anything more or less from me than what I do within my job. And I was like, I could do it. And they were like,
Nice.
ooh, you do websites? And I was like, I do websites.
Yes.
So like I went back into CEO of Show It.
Yep.
And I was like, I need to know all the things about Show It. And I created this mock website for my 9 to 5. The
Wow.
CEO loved it and was like, you're doing our website.
Heck yeah.
So my 9 to 5 became like a client.
Amazing. That's like maybe the best client to even get, I feel.
Yeah.
Honestly. So, and do you mind sharing what do you do in your 9 to 5?
Okay, so I'm actually, I have a like a degree in health and human services. So I'm actually a program manager for like a recovery program.
Very
So
cool.
basically I work with people who test positive for substance use or who like self-report substance abuse.
Okay.
And then I help them get them connected to treatment, and then kind of just be like a buddy for them
So
through
cool.
that whole process.
Wow, that's super special. Do you plan on trying to expand into working with more health and wellness or like that world after doing their site?
Yeah, I never really considered it. I've been in kind of like that coaching slash
Yeah.
health and human services world for most of my career, right? And I definitely think I could, but I think my heart has been a little bit more into helping women who have like hustled their behinds off to build
Hmm.
a business, and give them what they need to go even higher. Because, as like a single mom, kind of just
Yeah.
working through life on her own terms by herself, I think it's really important to just take a moment and say, hey, like, boss babe, I see you.
Hmm.
You're working hard, and I want to support that any way that I can.
A
So I think it could
hundred
go either
percent.
way, but that's where my heart's been.
That is special. And I definitely I empower you to really like feel into what industries, what kind of clients really resonate with you because outside of the income is definitely the impact. And I think that letting that kind of lead you, especially in your first year or two, and really building your foundation of clients, your foundation of websites, and also your network is so powerful because when you're on Instagram or you're creating content, like you clearly have such a powerful story and like passion inside of you and like you have so much to share and it's so resonant to other people that have had any flare of similarity in their story or are a part of the industries that you're naming. So, first, definitely keep on doing what you're doing. Um, I actually even have a couple of people that after the interview I would love to connect you with that are in Houston. One of which is actually a past team member of ours who hosts a really cool female entrepreneur network in Houston.
Oh, that's so cool.
And a couple, yeah, we have a couple of other show designers in Houston, and it's definitely an entrepreneur hub.
Yeah.
Um, so let's go back to the courses. CEO of Show It.
Mhm.
Was CEO of Show It your entryway into learning Show It?
Yeah, it
Wow.
was. I have worked on so many different platforms, and so when I took Wealthy Web Designer, I had never worked on Show It.
Wow.
And again, like all of it was so new to me, just the transition into like I could be a web designer.
Hmm.
So when I took CEO of Show It, everything was just like I had stars in my eyes. I was like, this is new, this is fun, this is
Hmm.
exciting, this is, but yeah, it was my first kind of touch point with Show It.
Nice. What did you think of Becca's teaching style, actually teaching the skill of design rather than the entrepreneurship side?
Oh, so I've taken so many courses. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, but never in web design.
Mm.
She has been such an incredible teacher and she makes things so clear and I don't have to, maybe it's just like the way that I learn, but like with CEO of Show It especially, she could show it to me. She does it step by step and I don't have to keep going back and like, wait, what did she do? Was like I could watch it all
Hmm.
the way through and then I could easily apply
Yeah.
what she taught.
I love that. I think that the application of it is like the biggest piece that we tried to create in that because we went to community college classes together. We've done a lot of courses together, and like there's nothing worse than being really excited to learn something and then being told, like, you should do that. But then it's not like, all right, but like, how or like, what am I supposed to do? Where we really, I feel like it's honestly like daunting to be educated in a format that isn't applicable. Where you're like, okay, now I know it, but what am I supposed to do with this? Like, how do I apply it? And so, CEO Show It, I always tell people, even if they know Show It already, that Becca's teaching style really breaks it down into being very efficient and very quick at doing it in a way that makes you money. It's like how to apply this skill to actually do something for you and not just be a skill.
All action based. CEO of Show It and
Honestly.
Multi Web Designer are not theoretical in
Yeah.
the least.
Yeah. So now, what does life look like? You're at your 9 to 5. Do you have a plan of wanting to leave the 9 to 5, or are we really happy actually doing both?
So with the 9 to 5 and kind of just offering to do the website, I've been offered a different position in a completely different field, right? So
Okay.
they're training me in their back end and their different systems because they're not doing Show It, right? This is a corporate company.
Right.
They're like, this is HubSpot all day. Like we're doing
Yeah.
XYZ. And so they were like, if you do this website, we'll transition you into the marketing department, which is a
Cool.
very clear career change with a lot of opportunities. And I say that, but there's also this, what Wealthy Web Designer taught me, and I've still got clients on the side.
Yeah.
So it can go either way, but if I'm being honest, where my heart is I think I might want to try this entrepreneur journey. I think I might want to kind of go out on my own and see, because I haven't taken it seriously just yet. I think I'm still
Hmm.
kind of like in shock,
Yeah.
but I'm on track to make like, I think 15K, and I just launched in like June technically, and it was like a soft launch.
That is incredible.
So, and this is like still working a 9 to 5 and
Yeah.
just kind of taking on clients like here and there. So,
I love this, and I'm honestly so proud of you. You are one of the first, if not, you're one of the first interviews that I think we've done of a student that's actually still working a 9 to 5, which I actually think is really cool. We've had a huge influx over the last year of people not necessarily wanting to leave their 9 to 5 as much as they used to. I feel like we used to use in our messaging, like, leave your 9 to 5, leave your 9 to 5. And now I think times are a little harder just in general. And there's a lot of reason to even try and do both. I'm curious, as you have been working the 9 to 5 during the week and also working on websites on the side, you made 15K. What does that actually look like in terms of like a week? Are you working for the clients on the weekends? What does that all look like?
yeah, so time management is so key in the lifestyle that I've cultivated for myself over the last couple of months because I'm also a single parent.
Right. I was about to ask that as the second question.
So, like, yeah, working a 9 to 5, going to get my kiddo, doing the dinner bedtime routine, and then, it's not really a 5 to 9 so much as like a 9 to 11, right?
Yeah.
Most nights, but then my kid is in a lot of different like after school programs or things like that. So really just taking those times, right, and being intentional with even just 30 minutes to
Yeah.
create an outline of the website that I want to do for somebody, or maybe do like a brand guide or write this
Yeah.
thought down. I think just sitting down and saying, this is what I need to do, and this is the time that I can allocate to those things
Hmm.
has been really helpful to me. But you don't have to, it doesn't have to be chaotic. Like it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be out of your league or impossible. It's actually really, really easy to fit this into my lifestyle. Again, I'm a single parent. I work 9 to 5, 5 days a week. I have Saturdays and Sundays. I have time with my kid, and it's just been a blessing all around. It hasn't been
Hmm.
selfish at all.
I love that. For the people that are maybe watching or listening to this that are in their 9 to 5, they're in like a maybe a similar place where they're like going through the courses, they maybe have a client, they've maybe even done a client already. What would be a tip for them to try and alleviate some of that chaos that they might be feeling?
I think personally, I believe a lot of that chaos as as a single parent, for me has stemmed from not believing that it could fit into who I am and what I
Mhm.
do. And so if you just take a second, like single mom listening to this right now, maybe you're in CEO, show it, and wealthy web designer. If you just take a second and say, I can do this. Like I genuinely can do this. I can make this happen. I can change my life. I can change my kid's life, and I can take this wherever I want it to go. If you just take a second and you breathe and say, this is possible, you will find a way to make it happen. But don't
Believe
allow
that.
it to lead you. You lead it.
What does that mean?
A lot of the times when you like take on so much, right? You'll let life happen to you. Right? You'll let,
Yes.
this lead you by the nose, or your kids take you all over the place, or you know what I mean? It's just life will just speak to you in so many different directions. When you say, I got this, I'm gonna rein this in.
Mm,
This is when I have time for you. This is when when you take charge of what you've elected to do, life takes on this whole different meaning. And that's what happens to me.
mhm,
Life takes on this whole different meaning when I say, I'm a web designer. Yes, I work a 9 to 5. Yes, I'm a single mom, but I'm a web designer, and I'm going to make space to do this.
That is so beautifully said, first of all. I love that. Um, I'm curious while we're thinking about that, curious when you really think about it and you give yourself that moment of I can do it, but not only I can do it, but I am doing it.
Hmm.
When you allow yourself to dream of like when you bought the course, like what was it then, and what is that transitioned into now of like what is the dream of life to show the children to be like doing or having as your lifestyle? Like what are you working towards?
I want to wake up every day and know that I impacted somebody who's in my situation to get out of, or to elevate themselves into a place of freedom, into a place of just being empowered and encouraged. And if that's like, quitting my 9 to 5 and becoming a full-time web designer and finding women like myself who are, just wanting to start a business, and giving them the step-by-step process of this is how you transition
Yeah.
out of a 9 to 5. I think that's kind of where my life is heading. I'm not gonna lie, that was
Mhm.
theoretical, but I'm feeling like that might be
Yeah.
where I'm aligned with.
Yeah. I think that you have like a word comes to my mind when I hear you talk and hear about your story and things like that. It's a word that actually gets thrown around a lot when we meet students and they refer to Becca. But I feel like you have this expansion as part of you, and that in your journey of even just like being a human, even outside of just being an entrepreneur, but like I feel like you are here to help other women expand, and
Mm,
whether that's expanding like their income or their business or their even just purpose. And I am so glad that like you are also on that journey to help other people and help other women because that obviously is near and dear to us as well. I grew up with a single mom of three kids working like 80 to 100 hours a week. And it's a demographic of people that really need the love and really need um, they really need to be shown that there is opportunity. And I think that right now in the world and in social media and stuff like that, it's so interesting in that sometimes it feels like there's so little opportunity, and then sometimes there feels like there is so much. And in the world of web design, it feels like there is so much. And I'm just so happy that you are on like a mission where you're able to impact people like that.
Thank you. That was, oh, I'm like speechless.
No, I'm honestly serious. Like the and I'm actually curious, where do your children fall into this? Like, are they watching you work? What would they, this is actually a fun question. What would your kids say if I asked them, like, what does your mom do? Like, in regards to the web design?
Oh yeah, that is a fun question. So I have one, I have a daughter. Her name is Reagan and she is 8. And
Nice.
the kid is the light of my, she's such an incredible personality. And I've created a brand for her. Like
Okay.
I've sat down with her and I've like we've picked out colors and fonts
So
and
fun.
you know what I mean, done like a homepage, and she gets so excited. She's like, "Mama, are you meeting with a client? Mama, are you doing that?" She loves it. She loves the
Mm.
creative aspect of it, and you know, there are times where I'm like, "Hey, I'm about to sit down and do this. Do you want to, you know, do you want to pick this, or do you want to help me do this, or do you want to weigh in on this?" And so you know, she has gone up to people and be like, my mama does websites, or like my mom,
Oh.
you know. So she's very involved in it. And I think she gets excited, seeing that creativity is not just something that kids have, but
Hmm.
it's something you can take with you.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh,
Yes.
wild,
It
wild.
is. And it's like even just like reconnecting to even like dreaming kind of like a child, in that nothing is impossible and that like the impossible can even happen. And I
Mhm.
think that when you like think about even just what you've said in this interview of like taking the moment to tell yourself that you can do it, and
Yeah.
then when you put that into perspective of that you can kind of do the impossible, like you really can make things happen, which you clearly are. Um, to round this out to everybody who's listening, what can people do if they are wanting to embark onto this kind of mission of finding purpose and creating something for their family? What would be a couple or one tip that you have for them?
I would say if you don't already journal, sit down and journal. And when you touch upon that thing that makes you as giddy as a child, that thing that gets you so excited, find a way to make a job out of it. Find a way to make entrepreneurship out of it. Find a way to make it a lifestyle and just run with it. Just
Mm,
do it. If you like getting on Canva, maybe you're a web designer. Come join us over here in Wealthy Web
yes.
Designer.
Did you grow up using Paint, the app?
No, I didn't. I actually
Okay.
was a pencil and I was a drawer.
Okay. I grew up always using this platform called Paint. It's like an old Microsoft thing.
Mhm.
And I always think of now that it's like bringing that back as your career. And when we were kids, when we were making all these like sound effects and word art, we never thought that that could be the case. So it's
Yeah,
pretty freaking cool.
they don't teach that in school.
No, they really don't. Well, where can people find you? Because I know that your story is definitely going to resonate with other students and other moms and other people that are just wanting to be a part of changing their life. Where can people find you on the internet?
Oh yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram at by JD Ashmore, ASHMORE, or on my website at jdashmore.com.
Amazing. Well, I will have all of those things hyperlinked below so that you guys can check her out. Please do, because I can tell that this is a story that is really, really just beginning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, and we will see you soon.